Hello and welcome to Talking Live. I'm Dr. Robi Ludwig right here in Starshop Studio. And today you are going to meet my exact opposite. This is someone who is gifted in all areas of entertaining, creating. Her name is Siri. She has a lifestyle brand, Serissima, and she also has a web-based series which she hosts called Serissima Does. We are so glad to have you here.
Thank you, Dr. Robi.
You are lovely.
Thank you for having me.
I was mesmerized by your videos. Tell me how you got into this field.
Well, the story starts a very long time ago because I've always done design. I've always wanted to do design, but I've kind of segued from one type of design to the next throughout different phases of my life. So I started out in art direction. So I actually worked up the street here in New York City for Ogilvy and Mather, in the 90s sometime. And after that, there was 9/11, a lot of things happened, and I moved to the Caribbean. In the Caribbean, I met someone who was Italian, and I moved to Italy. In Italy, I was able to get a degree in fashion design, so I started my own brand after I graduated. I've also worked for famous high-end brands, and I've always done different types of design. I mean, I moved to Italy. After that, I moved back here, and I started jewelry making. So I've always done tons of different kinds of designs, and that's kind of how it happened.
It's like you are the type of person who's good at everything, and actually we have your signature up there, and there's an interesting story behind the name of your brand because it has Italian meaning. So your first name is Siri, which is so easy for us all to remember.
Like the iPhone.
You're Korean and Norwegian.
Correct.
So you have an interesting background. You were raised in Europe for a period of time?
Yes, I grew up in Norway. I was adopted by a Norwegian father and a Dutch mother. So my cultural heritage is completely Norwegian.
Who were both psychotherapists, by the way. So that's kind of on a side note.
Hi, Papa. Hi, Mama.
And it was funny when reading your kind of romance story with your husband, who's also Norwegian.
Correct.
He thought you Googled him?
He thought I Googled him.
Because you said you were Norwegian? I laughed at that last night.
Well, it's a little bit more to that story because I kind of lost my flight, and then I came back to the city, and because I was living in Milan at the time, and I asked him, are you doing something? Like, turns out he had 3 dates. He canceled all of them. He's like, no, I'm not doing anything. So we went to the Mandarin Oriental. We had a drink there, and we're Norwegian. We start talking, and we're only 4.9, almost, maybe even 5 million people. So chances are that we know each other. Somehow there's a close connection. So he said that he was from Trondheim. He has this accent from up there. And I said, but are you from Trondheim? You know how people say they're from New York and they're from, Westchester or somewhere. Yeah. And he's like, no, I'm from this other town. And he didn't even say the exact town he was from because he knew that chances were very, very slim. So he says the name of the bigger town. And I said, oh, I used to live close to there in a little town called Fandrem. And he goes like, and that's exactly where he grew up.
Wow.
So he and we were 2 blocks away from each other. And it doesn't even have a traffic light. That's how small it was. And what are chances that we meet up in New York City?
It's just fate. I loved how you said
I know.
You could
the universe wants us to be together.
Yes, you could have been like childhood romance, like you could have had it in kindergarten or something like that.
But actually, we would have known each other if we both lived there at the same time. I actually moved away before he came. But the people who've always lived there, they know both our families.
That's fascinating. And your parents are still there, or they're here?
No, so they moved down south to the Oslo area.
Okay. So you are fascinating in the sense that you really started a lot of what you're doing now in adulthood. Yes. Which can give a lot of people hope. I was reading you started jewelry making when you were pregnant.
Yes.
And that at one point, this really resonated with me because this is so up my alley. You were looking at one point on how to boil a potato.
Yes.
And you didn't know how to do that. And now you are a master chef, basically. I mean, you really are. You can cook for over 100 people. And you learn this in adulthood at the Soho House in Miami.
Yes, yes. And that, I think a lot of things in my life happen by chance, and I tend to be the kind of person who just goes with the flow. And I was there at the Soho House. I was taking a class in salad dressing making, which is like my least favorite thing to make, by the way. And the chef, you know, he was like, "You look like you're a little extra interested. Would you mind working in the kitchen?" I'm like, you know, why not?
Yeah.
Why not? I had a small child at that time. I needed to get out of the house sometime. And I thought that was a good idea. So before you knew it, I was actually cooking for paying clients.
How did you know that you were good in this space?
I didn't. It's just putting yourself out there and doing it. And I think a lot of you guys can do it as well. You just need to, you know, find what you're interested in and try it and not be afraid of failing, because failure is a part of any success.
That is really so true. We are all fortunate now because you host a web series where you take us through the how-to, and you are an excellent teacher because there's a calm about you. There really is. And so I think when it comes to entertaining, there's a lot of anxiety.
Yes.
And there's a lot of fear that it won't be good enough. And you take us through the steps. In fact, you do it for a lot of people. Your husband likes large parties, I read. You like smaller parties?
I do.
What do you think is...
You are a psychoanalyst.
I am. I like to get into all of the details, because
that's why you're a great interviewer.
Thank you. What do you think it takes to make a great party? Because a lot of people during the summer are going to have people over. There's going to be 4th of July. There are just birthday parties and events. People want to get together. What do you think people can do to make something that is comfortable but beautiful at the same time?
Yes. So I think there are a few components to any party that you need to have. You need to have enough to eat, enough to drink, and some good music. That's all you really need, because everything else just falls into place.
Do you find that it's harder when you mention enough to eat? My first thought goes to people are on all different kinds of diets.
Oh,
there's
yeah.
the vegan,
not at my house.
There's like the gluten-free, there's
It's true.
the sugar-free, there's
It's
the
true.
fat diet. Do you accommodate for all of those variations, or you just say, this is what I'm serving and just enjoy?
You know, it is what I'm doing. But the variation of the dishes that I make, it's always something there for everybody. So I think that with some planning, you can also do it, and you don't have to do it for 100 people. That was just, you know, because it happened. But
good, because I'm not doing
but it can be
anything
5
for
people,
100
it can be 10 people, it could be whatever you feel like. But I think the most important thing, Dr. Rob, is that you need to plan it. You need to plan it, and you can, if you are able to do as much in advance as you possibly can, that's how you keep calm during the showtime, if you will.
That's probably true for anything, right?
It
if
is.
you're planning in advance, you have that as your fallback. That's your foundation. I love how you talk about there are certain flowers too that are not so expensive, because I think flowers just adds life to any party and makes it feel warm and intimate.
Definitely. And flowers, it doesn't have to be expensive. If you go to my Sarissima Instagram page, you can see how I'm able to arrange flowers from very, very inexpensive material. For example, the carnation, very humble. You know, it had a little, it had its time during the 70s, somewhat 80s. It was good friends with a baby breath, you know, and it defined an era flower-wise. But, you know, I use it, and I use it. I bunch them all together. You can buy a big bunch for like $4 at any bodega or, you know, wherever you might be.
And they last fairly long, right?
They last long, and they're so pretty. And you can even, you know, if you happen to have a little orchid, you can have like one stem of orchids, and you can dab it on top of it, and it gives it that whole new level, and nobody really knows that was you know, $2.50 worth of flowers.
I want to mention to our audience that we will have a link to your Instagram and to your Facebook and to your website so people can find you, because I was scrolling through your Instagram last night and it's really beautiful, and just you can click on it and see many videos where you're giving advice, and what's nice is that it's quick go-to information. There's definitely that takeaway. If you feel that, you know, reading a long article or committing to a long TV show is just too much, here's kind of your quick fix, which is really your specialty. Is there a mistake that people make when throwing big dinner parties?
I think the biggest mistake is trying to do too much.
Yeah.
You just have to keep it simple, but you can do it in a way that it's still special. If you're able to plan your dishes, for example, to do single servings and plating, that takes a lot of time and it takes you away from your guests. So if you don't have someone who can help you with the serving and the plating, and forget about it. Just use your oven. That's number one.
Okay.
If you can do something in the oven, you can do a lot of portions at the same time. Serve things family style. Who doesn't love a steak?
Yeah.
You know, and it's much easier than a lot of people think. I also have videos about that on my website. So
yeah, I would think that is the challenge, because for people who are throwing dinner parties, people want to be with the host.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
if you're in the kitchen the whole time and you can't be with everybody, that can feel like a pressure and burdensome in some way. So I love that idea of figuring out a way to just have the food out there, and then people can get what they want.
Oh yeah.
You know, as much or as little.
And it doesn't have to be so formal. I think what the beauty of throwing a dinner party is you gathering together with your friends and having a great time. You know, you're enjoying great wine and conversation and the ambiance, and that's really what hosting is about. It's not about, oh my gosh, I had this beautifully plated food.
Right.
You know, no, you can go to Nobu for that or somewhere else. I don't know.
It's about the emotional experience.
It is.
What I think is so lovely is that, especially in New York City, not a lot of people have that home experience. So
yes,
whenever we can have that,
definitely,
it really is quite striking.
I agree.
I was reading that knitting, which is one of your specialties,
yes.
first of all, has become a phenomenon.
Oh, definitely.
There are millions of hits on YouTube on how to make various, I don't know. I had an aunt, she was brilliant at it. And for Christmas, she would knit these intricate like capes and sweaters, and we just cherished them because really they were works of art and so different. There was actually something in the Wall Street Journal. We have a picture of a sweater that you did in 2 days.
I didn't do it. That's not the one I did in 2 days.
Oh,
that's a
okay.
little misleading, I gotta say. I spent a good week and a half on that one.
Oh yes, because that, that's a huge difference. 2.5 days versus a week and a half. Actually, knitting is something that you did when you were 10 years old, and you were telling me it was a requirement where you grew up?
Yes. So, knitting is something that everyone had to do way back. Girls, boys, everybody. And the first thing you make,
by the way.
yes, and I chose it because it would be nice and bright and would look good on television. But this is very similar to the first thing I knitted. I mean, not look-wise because I wasn't as good, so I think it was more like a rhomby kind of shape to it, and it was bright blue, and it was so hard. It was because I was very tense when I knit it, so I was like, oh, it was like stiff as a board. But yes, this is a pot holder. I made you one, and you're gonna make the other one.
We're gonna do that after the quick five. Oh
good.
God, you're gonna see why
I'm excited.
Listen, you're gonna get insight into why I do what I do and why I got.
It's very meditative. It's very, it's very relaxing. It's very zen.
When I was reading the article in the Wall Street Journal, it was saying the new trend is it's about the journey.
Yes.
So that people are doing it as a healthy distraction from their phones.
Oh, yeah.
And a way to use their brain really in a different way.
Definitely.
And that it's not about what it looks like. It's about just the action of doing it.
It's not about the destiny. It's about the journey.
Yeah. But you're gonna see why.
I'm more like a destiny kind of girl. You'll see me like I see that sweater. I'm going like this.
And you're going to see why I got a C in home economics in high school. We are going to get to the quick five so people can get to know who you are and just enjoy you as much as I have. And
Wonderful.
Then we're going to get to the knitting
All
and
right.
see how well I do there. Okay. What accomplishment are you most proud of?
You know what? I got to say, my kids, they're hard. I mean, they're hard. So I'm proud of that.
Yes.
I spend a lot of time and brain, energy, caring for them.
You have a boy and a girl, right?
I do.
And how old are they?
So my boy Felix, he is 9 years old, and then I have a girl, Edith, and she's 6 years old.
Oh my goodness! And you travel with them. You do everything as a family.
Yes. In fact, we took the whole year off a year ago. We traveled for 14 months, the whole family, just the 4 of us. So we were together 24/7.
How'd you manage to do that?
I mean, I think that's a sign of a healthy relationship,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
You
yes.
as a psychotherapist.
I just meant just even logistics, like your husband taking off work, or was he able to work from abroad?
So my husband, he's an entrepreneur and he's very good at it. So he sold his company, and instead of buying stuff, we wanted to spend that money creating an experience that would last us a lifetime.
Which is the
So
new
that's
trend.
what we did.
How beautiful. How beautiful. Which would be harder for you to give up, coffee or alcohol?
Well, I don't drink coffee really, so I think that's an easy one.
For me, that's a tough one. I don't know. I think I'd have a harder time with coffee. I drink it more often than alcohol, but anything could change at any moment.
Well, speaking of which, we'll
do
see
we
later.
have?
Oh, we have something.
Oh, did you want to drink it on air? We'll drink it
Ah.
after. We're going to drink it after, and you can follow us on Instagram. If you could have dinner with anyone from history, who would it be?
Oh boy. I don't know, maybe I would ask. Well, that's such a, I mean, it's such a, I feel that it's a question that needs a lot of reflection.
It does. It does. I'll tell
Maybe,
you.
maybe my birth mother.
Oh, that would be interesting.
It would be.
Do you have any information about
None.
her?
If you
Oh.
know anybody in Korea who gave birth to someone who
Yes.
looks like me, let
Let's-
me know.
Let's work
This is
on
the power
that.
of Facebook and the internet.
Absolutely. Wouldn't that be wonderful if we could find out information about your birth mother?
Oh, yeah.
Well, she'd be so proud of you.
Well, I
That
don't
I
know.
know. Yeah. When you have 30 minutes of free time, if you ever do, how do you pass the time?
I think we have the answer laying in front of us.
Knitting. And as far as your dream job?
I have my dream job.
Yeah.
I'm doing everything that I love in life, and I'm making a business out of it.
And you're making just other people's spaces and experience beautiful.
Thank
so
you.
we thank you for that. Okay, what are you going to teach me now? I'm going to try to learn how to knit. Oh, God help me here. All right.
All right,
Don't
so-
get too frustrated with me.
No. So
Okay.
I already did the cast on,
Oh,
which
good.
is
Okay.
basically a bunch of slip knots onto a knitting needle.
Okay.
So the hard part is done.
Okay.
So what you basically want to do, you want to transfer the knots from your left needle onto your right needle. So
Okay.
you hold it like this. Have you
Okay.
ever knitted before?
You know, I feel like I have, but it was so long ago, I definitely forgot.
But it's not brain surgery or
Right, thank
anything
God.
of
Yeah.
this sort. So you hold it like this. You hold that
Okay.
hand tight, and you stick it through here. This is your first loop.
Yeah.
And you want to bring, are you able to see this?
Yeah.
You bring that
Okay.
through, and then you slip it off.
Okay.
And this is very heavy gauged yarn, so
Uh-huh.
it's good for instant
It's
gratification.
Good for, okay, so you can.
So you get it from the bottom,
Okay.
you pull it through,
Uh-huh.
and then you slip that off. Because
Okay.
you see how you created
Ah,
a
yeah.
stitch right now?
Okay.
See if you can do it.
Oh,
Ah.
Lord. Okay.
You can do it. You can do it.
Okay, all right.
A
So
failure is
this-
an option.
Is this the holding
Yeah,
it
you
right
always
in
you want to hold your yarn around here and grab it through
the...
the rest of your fingers.
Okay.
You should have practiced this.
I should have practiced this. I know. I was too fascinated by your story, to be honest, and looking at your gorgeous house with
Excuses.
oh my gosh.
So
Okay,
you want to grab it from the bottom.
from the bottom.
outside
Oh,
bottom.
outside bottom.
Yeah.
Okay.
Grab. Nope.
No.
From the back to the front
Uh huh.
and through.
Oh.
Yes, and you
All right.
slip that off.
Oh, and then slip this off.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Got it. That you knitted your first
There
stitch?
we go. It might be my last, but stay tuned.
We're always doing
But if
new
you come
stuff.
back and visit me, I will
Oh
do
yeah,
it again
that
with
thing.
you.
She better have
Oh
this
my!
done. She better.
Absolutely. Look how gorgeous this is. Siri, thank you so much for coming. Also,
Well,
you
it's
are
my
going
pleasure.
to have your picture in Times Square of your show, Sarissima Does. It's a web series. Follow her on Instagram. We're going to have all the information. She has great advice, especially for the summer and entertaining. You are a doll, a pleasure. Best of luck with
Thank
all
you
of your
so much,
future
Robbie.
goals.
It was
and
great.
thank you for joining us on Talking Live. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.